And let's talk about your numbers.
Yes, sir.
I know on TikTok you have
1.1 million right now.
okay.
Yeah,
so you cracked the 7-figure club.
Healthy 1 million.
Congrats,
you know,
congrats.
thank you.
That's victory.
That was a hard one for sure. Yeah. 1.1 on TikTok. On Instagram, I got 439. On Facebook, I have 231K. YouTube, I have 136K, something like that. Threads, 80K. And the rest is some minuscule numbers right there.
So cumulatively almost like 1.8.
Yeah. So we're reaching twos. Reaching to the 2
reaching
million.
into the twos across all platforms.
For sure. Yeah.
That's dope.
Definitely appreciate it, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a blessing. It really has, man. I'm glad that I didn't give up on myself and just kept pushing through towards it. Yeah.
100%. We talked about that in our first episode about rule number 2 is don't quit.
Yeah. For sure.
You cannot quit.
For sure.
It's not an option. You got to keep going, keep striving. You can't stop.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I like I told you yesterday, you know, I count on people giving up. You know, for every level, there's a new devil. You know, I listen to Eric Thomas, Les Brown, all these people that says you don't got to be wildly talented. You just have to outlast the competition. And so I just keep going, man. I just keep going, and eventually people fall off, and then I look around, no one else is around me. So it's a good time.
That's the law of attrition.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Law of attrition.
Yeah, you just got to count people falling off.
Going into like a little bit of like your genesis, how did you get into like calisthenics?
Okay. You know, it probably started very young on when I was into like Power Rangers and like Dragon Ball Z when I was younger. As I progressed through school, I did choose weightlifting, and weightlifting was fun. For a long time, weightlifting was fun, you know, especially those preliminary days when you're a newbie and you're trying to build some preliminary strength and you're seeing the gains in your body. It's very fun. But after a while, weightlifting just became mundane, you know. Progression is adding another plate, you know. If you're not training like an athlete, you're just doing like the standard stuff, you know. Progression is literally adding another weight. And it got boring. I actually kind of accidentally stumbled on calisthenics. I really just wanted to work on my pull-ups at first. And my pull-ups were very half rep, just poor form, you know, to say the least. And as I was looking on Instagram, I saw like these Olympians and gymnasts, all this stuff, doing crazy stuff. And I tried it out myself, and I learned very quickly that I am not as strong as I think. And that sent me on a rabbit hole down that whole story, just trying to learn how to do, you know, calisthenics. And my first goal was a handstand push-up. And that took me over like a year and a half to learn it itself.
And what age was this?
23, yeah.
Okay.
So it's been about 4 years now, a healthy 4.5 or something like that.
That's crazy that you can do. It's crazy that you can do the things you can do in 4 years. Like,
You know, you could get it done a lot sooner if you have the knowledge of what to do properly. Like if I were to coach somebody, I guarantee they could get it done in, you know, a year and a half, 2 kind of thing. Simple stuff,
Okay.
For sure.
I definitely see that like across the board, like you going through like pursuing something and going through all like the like
Phases.
road bumps.
For sure.
Like mistakes. And then after a while you look back like, okay, if I was going to do this again, it would be much more streamlined.
Exactly.
So yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And so I know just before we get into the calisthenics stuff, I'd really like to learn about the genesis of people, like the actual foundation, right? So I know you have a Nigerian background.
For sure.
I know you grew up in Dallas.
I did.
Right?
Well, I grew up in Arlington. Actually, Arlington. I'm not gonna. I should shout it out. Shout out Agtown. It's all good.
Shout out.
Afghanistan. But anyway, Arlington. I grew up in Arlington. It's a very cool spot. A lot of mixed races and backgrounds there. And I moved to Dallas after I completed college. So about 4 years ago. It was around the same time I started calisthenics. I am Nigerian. My dad is from Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. I'm Yoruba. My mom is from Houston, Lubbock, Texas, actually, and she grew up in Houston. So I don't get that full, you know, full understanding of it. But I'm grateful for my dad being there and being in my life and showing me the way in the way he knew best.
Awesome.
Kind of thing.
How much of an impact would you say your father had in your journey?
A huge impact, man. My dad was an entrepreneur from the beginning. He had an air conditioning and heating business right there, and he went to college for engineering as well at UH. So my dad had tenacity for sure. And he definitely had the visibility and like understanding that he could make things of his own. And although we might not have gone as far as like I'm taking mine right now, he definitely inspired me 100%. You know, both my parents had 100% inspiration in everything I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think most of the time, whether positively or negatively, the parents are always the reason why kids turn out the way they do.
For sure.
Right? Good parents and bad parents, right? Parents who support kids, you know, they do turn out to be something, right? Like yourself. And then sometimes maybe the parents are not there, or maybe the parents don't support them. And that gives them the drive to like get the revenge almost for their parents or the environment. Sometimes not the parents, sometimes just the environment they grew up in. Right? Maybe they grew up in the hood, you know what I'm saying? Or they grew up in a not so nice environment, and they want to get the comeuppance on what they went through.
For sure.
Right? So for you, sounds like it was more so the positive kind of fire that got you to where you are now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my dad didn't like, you know, some of the things I was doing. You know, how Nigerian parents are. You know, they want you to choose a very stable route. You know, safe and stable route. And that plagued me for a while because my mom was an art teacher, and she was head of the art department at her school at Seguin High School before she passed. And her artistic spirit, you know what I'm saying? I carried that over. I've had one of those genes from it, and definitely just pushing through with that, man. It's a huge thing for sure. 100%. It's not all positive though, you know what I'm saying? Like, but
of course,
there's positives in the negatives if you search hard enough.
Like balance, like between like the pursuing your passion artistically and then pursuing something kind of like more stable. Would you say there was any like kind of like turning point where you knew like, okay, like I wanna, you know what I mean, pursue something more artistically, do that?
Yeah. I wouldn't say there's one point. I'd say there was probably multiple points in my life. Well, yeah, where, you know, God was kind of like, hey, you know what I'm saying? You have this skill, like over here, you know, that you're kind of pushing into the back of your brain. Like my first use of my artistic ability, I wanted to be a mangakin, which is a manga artist. And so I wanted to, you know, write manga and draw them and stuff like that. I was very good at sketching and 2D art and stuff. I just, you know, I dropped that because, you know, if anybody knows, manga artists don't get paid anything. Yeah, I was about to say. They don't get paid a damn thing, bro. Like, so cartoonists, even in America, they don't get paid much, especially in Japan, you know. Yeah. It wasn't going to work, you know. And from there, I wanted to be a tattoo artist. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I should be like a medical illustrator. You know, I should draw like the organs and the bones and like medical books and stuff. But over and over, man, it just kept getting pushed back for something, a safer route. But definitely there was two moments, I'll say. And it's the moment where if anybody has tried to, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go off on a little tangent to bring it back home here. But if anybody has tried to learn a handstand before, a handstand is kind of like learning how to walk again, all right? Or walk for the first time because, you know, it's inverted kind of thing. And your joints and everything have to be built up before you get that posture where you can hold it properly. And I say this all the time, but handstands give you like a metamorphosis and like thinking and like how you can achieve things. Once I learned how to like, you know, hold myself on my hands, I was like, oh, okay, like my mindset is different. You know, the way I'm approaching situations is different because like I can build anything, you know what I'm saying? I can apply the same logic to anything. So it was right then and there with the calisthenics where I knew, okay, I might have a talent for this and I could keep going on and see how far I could get. It was that moment and a combination of my mom's death. You know, my mom passed to breast cancer in May 2020, right there. Sorry for your loss. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. But huge blessing, by the way. I don't like to look at the negatives of it. Obviously, it's a traumatic thing, but it's for character development. You know what I'm saying? Right then and there when she died, I was like, dang, you know what? I should stop pursuing not even selfishly, but like, I couldn't even say that properly, but like just pursuing the safe route. I should have fun. You know, my mom was an artist and she loved everything she was doing. She loved when she was doing her art and stuff like that. And I like when I'm doing things artistically. It doesn't have to be 2D. It could be cinematography. It could be pictures. It could be like this podcast right here. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to be free and I wanted to pursue something more in line with my spirit. And that's how I got, it didn't happen instantly though. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I chose and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, Striqfit. Nah, it's like I chose and I kept getting punched in the face, like regardless for like a year straight. And then I finally broke through.
100%. That's awesome. Yeah. And just to add, so I actually didn't know that about your mother. I actually lost my mom as well when I was 14.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah. So that was a rough experience. But I think there's something about losing a parent that gives you a whole different level of drive.
For sure.
Because I think it gives you like another paradigm of pain and handling pain.
For sure.
And then you have to become an alchemist. You have to become an artist who can turn and transform pain into gold, like turn nothing into something.
For sure.
Right? Because it's fuel, right? So anything that, because, this podcast is called Victory Club. And a lot of it, as we want to push, is the mindset component, right? The mindset part. And a lot of people, when they go through losses, when they go through difficult times, when they go through challenges, they give up.
For sure.
Oh, I don't want to, this is too hard. Right? But then when you can learn how to alchemize those tough moments, those bad moments into something great, you're unstoppable. How can you lose?
For sure. No, I know exactly what you mean.
How can you lose if everything bad that happens to you, you can take it and turn it into something amazing? How can you lose?
For sure.
So I see that, obviously, that inspired you quite a bit. And so I'm assuming May 2020 or around that time in 2020 is when you started the content. Am I wrong with that? Or
it's after that, but in May 2020, it was probably like August 2020. August. Sure, it was before Q1. It was like Q4 2020, going into 2021, because I had to move out here and stuff like that. It was October. It was October. And I moved over to the apartment that was right behind us, that complex behind us. And that's when I started, just recording, just bullshitting, really. It wasn't really anything like I was trying to be like a influencer or anything like that. I was just posting to post. And I think that's like the most organic way where you kind of fall upon it on accident, kind of thing. So
And when did that like switch kind of flip to where you were saying, where you saw like, hey, like this is like starting to get, traction, or I want to put like more into it? Like when did that kind of switch flip for you?
I'm gonna tell you, it was actually, and it might sound ridiculous, but it was actually after I had 100,000 followers on TikTok already. But at first, I was still kind of like, I'm just posting the post, you know what I'm saying? But it was actually,
maybe that's a secret.
Right. It was when actually my friend Fernando, it was somebody else, I can't remember the other person, but somebody told me like, hey, you should really think about taking this more seriously. And then again, like within the same 4 hours, like my close friend Fernando, shout out Fernando, he was like, hey man, you should really think about taking this seriously. Like same message as the other person said. And I was like, okay, clearly I get it. You know what I'm saying? Let me look at it. Let me see what I should do. For sure. Because I was just trying to make myself look like an anime character, for the most part.
What you do look like?
Yeah, for sure.
So if you guys want to see Tariq's physique, go check out Striqfit.
Striqfit for sure. Yeah, it's a good time. Not just the physique though. We got skills, all types of things. I want to learn superhuman stuff, and a good mindset as well. So for sure, it was a good time.
Okay, so let's talk about the social media side, because I think that's what a lot of people get a lot of value from that.
Okay.
I mean, not many people have done what you've done, especially in your industry. So to jump into the social media side, I know at first you were just starting just to post, and then you made it to 100K. Walk us through like your mindset, right, when you was creating, especially once you started taking it seriously. After Fernando told you, hey, you should take this more seriously, you started getting that feedback. Walk us through your mindset of going from 0 to 100, and from 100 to 1 million plus.
Okay. All right. Well, I touched on this briefly yesterday as well, but for every level, there is new devils. All right. So the same mindset that I had trying to get, from 0 to 100K or 100 to 200K is not the same mindset you have going from 900K to 1 million. Really, I wanted to keep having fun, number one, but I also wanted to be helpful because I knew that I had a teaching ability. I was good at explaining things and explaining myself and, the jargon of what people try to, over-explain. Yeah, stuff like that. I was trying to give that to people in an easier way on a silver platter kind of thing. So really, I was looking at what other people was doing, the competition was doing, and I was saying, I can explain this in a more simpler way. And not only that, with my artistic ability, I can also give you graphics, or I can give you some things that make this easier for you to understand. And then after that, it's kind of relying on my cadence, of my voice. The talents that I've been naturally born with and things that I've built, I've tried to combine those in some way to keep making the content. But as I'm growing, I never try to be a seller. I never try to be just like a NPC that's always, every time you see him, he's always selling a workout program. He's selling an app. He's selling some t-shirt. I don't like those people, you know? And so the content that I see when I'm on social media and things that get me to buy and like capture my attention, I try to put those elements in my content as well. It doesn't matter if it's a Disney movie. It doesn't matter if it's a podcast. It doesn't matter if it's a song. Like you got to capture and like think about those moments where your attention is shifted. And it's like, why did my attention shift like that? You know, why was that so important for me to like notice that right there? And you can implement these things in different ways, but the same logic behind it into your content. And I think that's what's been constantly growing me for sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And would you say like you kind of like, because that's even like an insight, like studying like other forms of media.
For sure.
For little things that capture attention, right? Because at the end of the day with social media, a lot of it is about attention. And like, can you like, first of all, grab someone's attention, keep them engaged, and then like educate them and provide value?
For sure.
Could you kind of elaborate a little bit on like maybe like strategically like your frame of thinking when it comes to like getting inspiration for how to grab attention for like content?
Okay. Elaborate. It's kind of hard to elaborate, but I will try to. Okay. So, my inspiration from content, man, it's like I love this stuff, man. Like literally, I was telling y'all yesterday, I was the same like 90s baby. You know, I had the Windows 99 PC. It took like 30 minutes to start up.
Yep.
I had the Linkin Park music, and I had the Dragon Ball Z edits and stuff like that. And I was trying to make those preliminary YouTube videos, you know, when YouTube was still kind of early on. Like this whole thing of wanting to be, you know, a manga artist, I learned as I got older that was me actually wanting to direct, you know, and it's like I wanted to shoot videos, but also be in front of the camera as well, kind of thing. So it's a thing that's kind of always been in me, but I get inspiration literally from pretty much anything that you could see, man. Like literally like all the videos that you watch on YouTube. I mean, you guys watch some kind of video, right? There's some videos that you come back to on YouTube.
Yeah, for sure.
You got to think about why you keep coming back to those videos. You know, the videos that you do click on, the videos that you stay on TikTok. Interesting movies like Sinners that just came out with Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. Sorry. Watching that. Yeah, I watched them. But watching that stuff, the inspiration is literally all around you. Yeah. If you really look for it, the inspiration, it's never ending. Like literally, it's every day in your life. It's in the random interactions you have with people in the mall or in the store. So I don't really have to search for the inspiration because I'm viewing the world from, I think, an artistic spirit, an artistic eye. And it's unfortunately, it's a little bit hard for me to explain because I think that I was kind of born with it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'll say like I don't know if you're familiar with Dan Coe.
Okay. No.
No, not at all. Okay.
I'm probably not.
But he's like also another like content creator. Solid. He's in the productivity kind of space.
Solid.
He gave like this piece of advice for kind of capturing those moments of creativity. And one of the ways like you do it is literally like, and it sounds like super rudimentary, but you just capture like an idea right then and there and like kind of like make a note of it.
For sure.
You keep on like doing it only when you have that spur of like inspiration.
Okay, yeah.
So for me, sometimes like I would go on walks and stuff, and I like Twitter. That's kind of like my platform. I like to just like think of stuff and then put them on like words. Like that's kind of my median. And I started using that technology, that like tip, I guess, and I saw like a lot of progression and kind of being able to capture my creativity. Okay. And then when I would go back and look at it, I'll see maybe like a thought or like a tweet. I would kind of make tweets to myself from maybe like a year and a half ago. And it's like, whoa, like it kind of could take me back to then. And it's like, it fuels an idea for another tweet and stuff like that. So do you have any like procedures where you kind of capture that?
Yeah. If what you're talking about, if I'm correct, you're talking about like unlocking like a flow state, right? In a way, okay,
because for me, like inspiration doesn't happen all the time, but it's like it's almost like a lightning bolt. It's like boom, like yo, like I gotta check this out, or I gotta write this down. And
it's like a download.
I see what you mean. Yeah,
and I know like other artists kind of experience something different, but maybe they captured it in a different way. Maybe it's like with photos. Maybe you know what I mean. So how is it kind of like for you?
When I'm trying to get into the zone, you know, or flow state, stuff like that, I do that method that you use, where you know I get an idea and I immediately write it down. if I come back to it like 60, 90 days later, I'm at a new consciousness now, and I can view this idea. I'm like, oh, actually, I should add this onto it too, kind of thing. Yep. But I think all high vibrational tasks are good for me unlocking flow. So it's things like being out in nature, like going out for a walk. It could be as simple as that. Mm-hmm. It could be as simple as meditating, and just letting the ideas come to you, letting God talk to you. Mm-hmm. I could be praying. I could be journaling, or I could just be literally, I could set my phone up and kind of just talk to myself, That's you could do that. A lot of people don't do that. Yeah. If you just set your phone up and start talking to yourself, eventually it becomes very natural. And you'll be surprised at things that you actually talk to yourself about when you start talking out loud. Mm. So it's something that people should try out if you haven't tried it out. Just talk to yourself. When you actually talk to yourself out loud, the emotions that you're feeling, with whatever situation, whatever happened in your day, really going through it, I think you can find a lot of things there for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Did I answer that question properly? I feel like
that was great.
Okay, cool. I do want to come back to some of the things you were talking about in terms of like the meditation, and I know we talked a little bit yesterday about like programming. Right? So I do want to come back to that, but before we get to that, I do want to talk about some of the opportunities that have come your way from building the brand that you have, right? Because even the way we met, I saw you at the gym.
Yeah.
This seems like a cool guy. He's in great shape. And then later on that day, or the next day, scrolling through TikTok, I think I was looking at some calisthenics movement because I think I was trying to get my pull-up right. I don't remember what it was. Yeah. Something like that. And I was scrolling through and then you popped up. Like, it was like one of the first. I'm like, right. That's Tariq. That's the dude I saw yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I came up to you next time I saw you in the gym. Just for context, we live in the same apartment complex. So I saw you in the gym the next day. I was like, yo, I saw you in XYZ. And then that's when we connected. And then, I tried to sell you on something in the future. You know what I'm saying? It didn't pan out exactly like that. Yeah. But the point I'm trying to bring up is that it created a opportunity for us to connect, to get to know each other. So I'm assuming that happens to you often. So can you talk to us about like some of the opportunities and things like that have come your way from your content?
For sure. People use you don't really realize it, before it's already happening, but people do use you as like a source of inspiration almost. And I don't let it inflate my ego or go to my head or anything like that. But it's like I have actually put in the work for it, So when I have people that, they come up to me and they want to talk to me or just like, learn some other movement, stuff like that, I take it as an opportunity to kind of build that social morale. But I get lots of opportunities like that, as well as, whatever, brand deals, which are cool. I try not to take a lot of brand deals, though, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. When I was very, very early starting on, I was so happy to get a brand deal. I think a lot of people, when they first start getting some clout on social media, they're very excited to take brand deals and just get paid just to do whatever you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And you get the whatever thing for free. But like I said before, I had to cut it off because, protein's cool, and the little whatever kind of money you're offering me is cool. But I understand that the community that I'm building right now, I understand it on a deeper level, Yeah. So I get opportunities, but I turn down like a 90% of them, to be honest with you, unless I really, really like them, and I really stand by,
And there's alignment. Like it's aligned to like you and like your audience
for sure.
Like, what's in their kind of like best interest.
Exactly. Yeah. So it could be anything, man. It could be protein. It could be clothes. It could be, come on this reality show, which I literally, I had to turn down. But
hey, man, what's wrong with reality TV, man?
It's just not me, man. It's just not me. I can't pretend like that, bro. I think the authenticity of my spirit is what people appreciate. So I got to stay true to it regardless of the check.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then so for you, I mean, obviously you're thinking very long term, right? Because you're saying no to opportunities right now that you can make money from right now to make your life better right now.
For sure.
For the future. And I think that's a great lesson because, we both are very long term thinkers. So for you, what's the long term plan with Striq and yourself and content?
Okay. I don't want to say too much on it on camera, but there is
the ops may be listening.
But there is a plan. Striqfit is going to expand in a different way that you won't see it. I want to be kind of the face where people, come to me and they understand, this is calisthenics and this is Tariq right here. And he doesn't have to be the strongest or the most well-versed in calisthenics, but hopefully it's inspiring a generation of people moving forward, you know, not just in America, but everywhere, you know, thankfully that I've been able to touch and see, and hopefully they become, you know, stronger and more inspired in themselves. There's a lot of toxic gym culture. Now, not that I've experienced myself personally, but I have seen a lot of people that get self-conscious and stuff, and they're kind of scared to go to the gym because of some of the people that you meet there. And it's not even the people that are actually good at, you know, well, not good, but like, that's the wrong word, but people that have been doing fitness for a while. It's usually the people that have some sort of preliminary gains or, you know, in a weak mindset, that are the people that kind of bully and feel like they are owed a spot in this place kind of thing. So really, long term, it's to inspire a future generation. I think that's what I can say on camera.
Yeah. Can you ever see yourself like maybe like on the big screen, like in terms of like a movie or like acting?
You know, I have a real fascination for acting. I could explore that. I'd be down to get into acting and stuff like that. Some of my videos require a bit of acting, and I like how it feels, you know. So if I actually had a script and I had you know, days or weeks to really envelop myself in a character, I think I could get into that for sure. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And so just to reel back a little bit into your day-to-day lifestyle. Yeah. Because, you know, every time I go to the gym, I see you there.
For sure.
This guy works out every single day. Right? So I want to talk about your schedule, like your daily routine, because obviously there's people that look up to you. So if they look up to you, it's probably helpful for them to also understand what your lifestyle looks like. Because when they see you on camera, you see the end product. They don't see the thing,
for sure,
the method behind the madness.
They don't.
So let's talk about the madness, man. Like, what's your day-to-day routine? How often do you work out? What's the mindset behind how much you work out and the way you work out?
Okay. So I'm going to say something that people might say is taboo, but I'm going to say it right now. Like, I don't get up at 5. You know, I'm not like one of those guys who's like, yeah, I get up at 5 and I'll be doing a lot and all this stuff. No, I'm not going to say that. Just like, I don't be doing like all that extra stuff. Now, some people have to if they have children, stuff like that. That makes perfect sense. But nah, you know, I get up at 6:45, you know, and I go to work like everybody else, and I eat breakfast at work. I don't eat anything crazy. I just get like a bowl of fruit or an acai bowl, and I get a green juice. I might skip lunch kind of thing. You don't have to. You can eat it if you want to. But then I go to the gym after work, and I go at like 6 p.m. And I go there for no longer than an hour, really, or an hour 15 if I want to go crazy. But you're not going to catch me ever telling people like you need to be in the gym 3 hours and, you know what I'm saying, only eat, you know, like green juice and coffee kind of thing. I would never do that, you know, and it's just like my whole thing about fitness is sustainability, thing that you can be consistent with. Like, I'm not going to tell you that you need to meal prep for, you know, 7 days a week, because that's only going to last you, like 2 or 3 weeks before you fall off, and then you're back at square one. So I do things that I can remain consistent with and that are very easy, you know. I try to make it as simple as possible for me. So I don't do anything crazy or special. And I think if a lot of people just took that mindset too, you could see some benefits in it in some form or fashion. Yeah.
Gotcha.
For sure.
And on kind of like the work side, how does like your schedule look?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, after I work out, So I told you I like editing. I really do. So all the skills and stuff that I'm doing, after I work out, I edit for anywhere from as little as 10 minutes to probably could be an hour right there. You know, some people would usually use that time to, you know, play the game, or if you want to watch TV, catch up on a series. It's the same thing. You know, now when you're first starting out, editing is hard. You know, it could take you hours. But just like with anything, just like with calisthenics, you know, after a while, you know exactly what to do, and it takes no long than 10 minutes, 30 minutes, and you're good to go. Honestly, you can do it while you're watching TV kind of thing. And so with that kind of thing, and doing that for 4 years, it's very easy to have thousands of videos of yourself just ready to go, honestly, whenever you want to. And if you ever have a passion project, then that's when I dedicate some special time to it, you know. Gotcha. But usually I can get any editing I need done in 30 minutes to an hour,
Okay, so editing in the morning, and then do you like more so kind of film new content like in the evening when you work out?
No. I edit in the evening too. Okay. So like I work out after work, and then I edit immediately after working out, you know. Gotcha. Yeah, so it's about 2 hours, like in total with the workout and editing. Yeah, dedicated there. Okay. And you're good to go.
For sure. And then with that being said, obviously you have you work a job. So if you can do it, anyone can do it, right?
For sure.
For the most part. So if someone's getting started, how do you recommend them get into calisthenics, and how do you recommend them actually building that skill set?
Okay. If they want to get into calisthenics, there's lots of videos on YouTube. I don't mean to be biased, but I do have a very informative one on my profile. And basically the science behind it is that you just want to establish a basic foundation of strength before you actually get into the real deal calisthenics stuff. What I mean is you want to reach a certain number of push-ups, dips, pull-ups, and squats. Now, if I were to give you a rough estimate right here, I might say a little bit more or less depending on the video, but it's a rough estimate. Anywhere from 10 perfect form push-ups, and I'll say like 3 to 5 perfect form pull-ups, 25 squats, because everybody should be able to squat. And dips.
Is the squatting just body weight?
But it's body weight, just body weight. Everything's all body weight. And dips, I'm talking about the actual parallel bar, like you're holding your body up, dips around 8. And after you reach that level right there, then you can go into the actual real deal variations of calisthenic workouts. And there's lots of them on YouTube. If you want to use some of mine, I have follow alongs as well. But that's when you get into the variations of push-ups and it starts to increase in difficulty kind of drastically, a little bit. But if you have that base level of strength, I can guarantee you will not be injuring yourself.
So like for like a newbie just getting into calisthenics, start with like that basic foundation.
Getting that basic foundation.
And then kind of pick like a variation, learn it, go to another variation, learn it, go to another variation, learn it.
Well, what I mean is once you have that basic foundation of strength, right? So like you've been doing squats before, you've reached 25 squats. So when you go to your actual calisthenics workout, it might tell you to do lunges, or some form of a pistol squat or a Bulgarian split squat. It'll be challenging for you, but you'll have that foundation and strength where it's not ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like it's challenging, but you'll be able to accomplish it, with a bit of, tenacity. And so instead of doing regular push-ups, you might have to do pike push-ups or pseudo push-ups, which are very difficult, for the average person kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like I said, if you have that foundation, then you're good to go. But with your actual calisthenics workout, usually any of the calisthenic workouts that you'll find, they'll have some sort of variation in there, like it'll already be programmed into it kind of thing. And you'll just have to work on mastering it for sure.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Did I answer that properly?
Okay,
that
cool.
Good. Got it.
Good. And then where I want to go next is kind of the mindset component. Because yesterday when we were speaking, you did mention like the programming stuff and the mindset behind everything. At least for me, I work out almost daily. And I believe in working out daily because it forces me outside of my comfort zone and it's difficult, right? It's not easy. And it makes everything else in my life easier, right? So for you, what do you think, what kind of mindset has working out, creating content instilled in you? And also, how do you go about programming? Because, you just explained how someone can get started. Yeah. But they also need the mindset.
For sure.
How would you advise someone on the mindset to instill into themselves and then how to actually also program themselves to win?
I'll say that you have to have the mindset that, this is not a overnight kind of guarantee kind of thing. So you have to be willing to invest in your body and in yourself. If you go in there wanting to just do a handstand in like 30 days, you'll quit for sure. And even if you do achieve the handstand, you'll quit. So it has to be something that's a longevity that you're wishing for it. When it comes to programming, I program my mind for positivity. So and optimism. Whenever a regular person, they see someone doing a handstand push-up, it looks impossible, or it might be like AI or something like, you never know. But it's, if you have that optimism in your mind, you know that you can achieve it, and as long as you stay consistent with your work and your workout, then eventually you'll be able to knock on that door. But a lot of people just end up quitting, man. That's really all it is. And it's not just in calisthenics. It's nothing to do with fitness, really. It's something in their mindset. Yep. And so, like you said, it's all about the programming and programming yourself for longevity. So if I were to walk you through some things that I do to program myself, I spoke on it briefly, but it's just like waking up in the morning and that first 20 minutes of your day, it's very important to control the energy, the vibes that are coming in. So if you're listening to something motivational, or if you want to meditate, or if you want to go for a walk, whatever helps you unlock that flow state for you. For me personally, I like to listen to motivational speakers. I like Les Brown. I like Eric Thomas because I like the cadence of their voice. I feel like it really influences my spirit when they get passionate about it. That helps me unlock flow. And after that, it's kind of like losing yourself in a bit of the delusion. And we spoke about that,
Yep.
you know, before, but like delusion is what you tell other people to come across in a nicer way. But you have to develop that mind state in yourself that like, oh no, I can do this. I can do that. Of course I can do that. As long as I keep trying, I can do that, you know? So that's my answer on that.
Yeah. I mean, touching the delusion, because that's huge, man. Like, because, you know, people have always called me delusional or whatever, but it's like, in my mind, I already have it, right? Like,
for sure.
If, for example, like fitness, like I'm probably like 3 or 4 years away from my dream goal, my dream body. In my mind, I already have that body.
You can see it.
When I work out, I'm just getting closer to that vision. Would you say something similar for you? Like, do you have it? Because I think a lot of people, they want to develop it. Like they say, oh, I want to have this. Yeah. But I think that the actual productive mindset is I already have this. If I want to I already have $1 million in my bank.
For sure.
And I might have $10 in my bank for real, but in my mind, I gotta have.
Yeah. You know? And I've heard like that's like a really big kind of key with like meditation. When you like do it like consistently, you pretty much like go back into that vision on a daily basis and just build like more foundation on it, more foundation on it, more foundation on it.
That's
and if you like stay in your meditations even longer, you kind of merge between like the delusion and like the reality, and you start to really believe like, okay, I already have that. I'm already doing it. And then it starts to feed into your actual life. So you start taking those actions to then get it.
For sure.
It's kind of something similar.
I would know. I 100% agree with that. I just wanted to say though, as well, because people always say like, oh yeah, just program your mind, you know, like it's so easy kind of thing. It's like, it's not easy. That's and I want to touch on that and say that too. When you're doing these things, you're trying to be positive. You're going to be encountered with so much negativity. Just because you chose positivity doesn't mean that all of a sudden positive things are going to happen to you. Negative things are going to happen to you, in fact, because you chose positivity. To see if you actually really want the positivity.
You're gonna get tested.
Yeah. So I think that, you know, like take meditating, for example. Like if you go to meditate, it's not like, oh, I can quiet my mind at will kind of thing. No, when you meditate, you're going to meditate badly, just like anything else in the world that you're doing, especially like calisthenics. If you do anything spiritual, fitness-wise, you're going to do it badly at first. But as long as you keep showing up and you sit down to meditate, I promise you, you'll learn how to meditate. You know, and it could happen different for anyone, though. It could be in that first week. It could be in that first year, you know, and it just depends on you. But that's not a knock to who you are as a person at all. It just takes you a little bit longer. But as long as you outlast the competition, you know, who cares, right?
Yeah. So it seems like that, like, consistency is like a really big pillar for you when it comes to like victory and achieving victory and just winning.
For sure.
It seems like it's like a common thread. Like, you don't have to do like the most. You don't have to like do some like unreasonable things. You just got to show up every day and get a little bit better.
For sure.
And like just by doing that, you outlast your competition.
Exactly.
And then you transform. Yeah.
It's a metaphor in life, you know, like has you ever run track before?
No.
I did a little bit.
You did a little bit? Okay. So
it's
it's like running a mile like on the track or running a 400. You know, if you sprint like, you know, the first, then it's like you're not going to gas yourself out, you know, and then the people that are behind you that are going at a steady pace. It's the steady pace, man. It's a metaphor for life, literally. I think that's really one of the best things that I've learned from calisthenics. It's just about being consistent with everything in my life. I can apply this to everything. So yeah, I agree. 100%.
And then I've heard you mention a few things that are very spiritual, right?
Yeah.
So like you mentioned vibrations. I think that a lot of mindset things are also spiritual. They come from God, right?
Yeah.
They come from the source. So for you, how has it spirituality impacted your journey?
I'm a little OD, that people would say, when it comes to like being like spiritual or like I give gratitude to my body when I do like certain exercises and stuff. It's pretty frequent inside my head. I pray a lot during the day. My prayer doesn't look like everybody else's when I'm praying. You probably won't even notice that I'm praying when I do it in the gym. But I am really focused on that. And the reason for that, it actually came from this anime, Hunter x Hunter. And there's this guy. Shout out Hunter x Hunter. I'm a hater, but shout out Hunter x Hunter. But it's this guy called Netero, and he used to pray, I think it was... like, damn, I'm going to butcher it. I don't know. He used to pray before he threw every punch. You know, he threw like 10,000 punches a day, and he used to pray before every punch and ask, you know, thank God for his body and, you know what I'm saying, for the world around him kind of thing. And I got a understanding from that when I watched that, and I was like, I took it as a sign from God, like, oh, I should probably start doing that and start training that, because like I really am thankful for my body. You know, my body. A lot of people when they try to do, they get like really, really into calisthenics, really well versed into it, and they start doing the crazy stuff that I'm doing. They've injured themselves at some point. You know, like I do a lot of crazy stuff. You know, and
I've seen it.
I have not been injured, thankfully. You know, I hope to not be injured seriously anytime in the future. But I always pray, and like I just thank God, like thank you for this body, thank you for like supporting me, even if you don't complete this rep, like thank you for just being here and showing up for me, kind of thing. I think surrounding yourself with that energy, it's impossible just to not feel optimistic and just stronger. And I think that helps me unlock flow state too. So
100%,
definitely. Yeah, all those things spiritual. Did I answer that, or I missed something else 100%. On that? Okay, cool.
I do want to dive a little deeper though into the prayer.
Okay.
And then also like what your meditation routine is, because everyone has a different routine when it comes to meditation.
Okay.
So for you, like you mentioned, giving gratitude to your body. That's something I've never heard before. So I do want you to elaborate a little bit on that. Like,
okay,
I know you got it from Hunter, ex-Hunter, but like,
yeah.
Like, does that give you like an emotion? Does that give you a feeling? Like, what's going through when you first started it? Like, what differences did you see doing that?
I didn't notice anything different, when I first started it. And I usually, now I notice things differently, and I feel differently. And it might just be a placebo effect in my head.
Yeah.
Call it whatever you want, but it works. But the prayer itself, it's actually, I said I journal a lot, right? And so really, I don't want to call it a ritual, but I created this thing where I was talking to God, and I told God, like in my journal kind of thing, like whenever I make this certain hand gesture, like I'm praying this prayer. And this was like a long ass prayer that I wrote, you know what I'm saying? And it was like very in depth in my journal. And I was like, all I have to do is put these hands together and like think about, thanking, whatever. And that's it. So like the prayer itself, when I do it, it takes no less than 10 seconds. But it's a long, thing that I wrote, and I created that, synergy in my head and like, okay, like, that when I do this gesture, that's what that means right there. And it gives you strength. I think you could do that with anything in life too. It just matters if you believe it actually works or not. And I think if you choose to believe that it actually works, it couldn't hurt. So
that's fascinating. Very, very interesting. It kind of, I feel like it kind of ties into like your journaling practice, like before you work out,
for sure,
and then doing your prayer like during your workout, kind of giving you that extra boost.
For sure.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting.
Sure. And then one thing, we're almost done here, but I do want to ask you something that I haven't heard you talk about yet too much, which is your diet. So I know you mentioned you eat some fruit bowls, acai bowls, stuff like that. What's your diet? Like, what do you focus on protein? Are you not a big protein guy? Like, what does that look like for you?
Protein's important. But like what I will say is that I'm not super duper strict, no pun intended, on my diet. But it's just like, but it's because of my body type. There's different body types. Some people have an easier time gaining fat, and some people have an easier time, losing fat, or gaining muscle kind of thing. So for me, I'm a naturally skinny person. I was like super duper skinny. And so I wanted to gain muscle. If I were to stop working out, I would just get skinnier. And that's not the case for some people. Some people would, get bigger kind of thing. So as far as my diet, I just make sure I'm getting a lot of protein intake. Some people call it forever bulk, you know what I'm saying? So it's like eating a lot. I'm trying to eat as much as I can whenever I can. And sometimes I do skip meals like I mentioned earlier. So unintentionally, I do end up in a caloric deficit on accident. But as far as my diet, more specifically that I wanted to go into is that I do things that are able to be consistent, you know what I'm saying? So I do things that are easy and simple. So things like peanut butter toast and like a banana for breakfast is cool, or like an acai bowl and a green juice, whatever that you can eat every day or just for most of the days of the week is fine. I want to primarily have a healthy diet. So like 60, 65%, 70% healthy. But I have hella cheat meals. You know, I eat sweets, I drink alcohol. I'm telling the truth. You know, it's like, I'm not like, oh, you have to, you know, never pick up a drop of alcohol again.
Right.
If you don't, then like, I believe that's all power to you. But like, I don't think that you have to just cut these things out completely at all. I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
But as far as my dad, that's it. Yeah. So did you, more specifically, did you want like my breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Because it's different.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. So, for example, like, do you eat mostly chicken, mostly steak, fish?
Steak. Yeah, but not just regular steak though. It's bison. Bison. I get it from the Whole Foods by the crib, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. It's because lean cuts of bison are healthier, and that's what I usually go for. Or pasture raised eggs. You know, when I could find them, they were gone for a little bit.
Yeah,
but I get that. If I were to have like a simple meal, I'll write it out for you. Okay, here we go. So breakfast, all right, like 8 in the morning right here. I got an acai bowl, protein acai bowl. It's filled with acai, almonds, almond butter, coconut, and granola in there, right? And I have a green juice that has like spinach, kale, and some other nonsense in it. And then for lunch, I could have like a regular burger, something chill though, like no like crazy toppings on it, just a regular burger. And I'm talking about like
no cheese.
There's cheese on it. You can have cheese on it, but it's about bread, cheese and meat. That's about it.
Do you remember
what?
You remember that one time where we mixed up our
Shake Shack. Yeah, Shake Shack. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, I remember that.
I didn't order this.
No, the DoorDash driver gave me his order. That was crazy that happened.
He's like, yo, the other guy took it.
Yeah, he just like, I stole the order. I didn't steal the order.
Yeah,
but it was funny.
Okay.
But yeah, Shake Shack or any kind of burger that you want is simple. You don't have to have a burger. I'm just saying. You could have Chipotle or whatever kind of thing. And then for dinner, right there, I'd have like 4 to 6 pasture-raised eggs and a bison steak. And it's probably like 4 to 6 ounces of steak. You don't have to go that OD, I promise you.
Yeah.
But that's generally what I eat most days. Yeah.
And while we're kind of on like diet, switching gears like a little bit, how do you approach kind of like recovery, like on a like day-to-day basis?
You know, my recovery could use improvement. You know, I'm not in ice baths or I don't go to the sauna every day like most people. But as far as recovery, one thing I do, I try to make sure that I'm just not overdoing it. Like you saw me in the gym 7 days a week. I'm not working the same muscle group every day, and I'm not doing the same level of intensity. Where people go wrong is they don't do their mobility work, they don't warm up properly, and they're working the same thing. Like a lot of people, when they first get into the gym, they want to do chest forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's easier to them, you know? So they'll do chest like 5 days a week, and then they'll wonder why their shoulder hurts kind of thing. And it's like, you know, I try to give my muscles at least 48 hours rest before I do the same kind of workout, because it's in a rest that your muscles become stronger kind of thing. Now, you could simply just rest. As long as you're doing your cool down stretches after your workout, you're good to go there. If you want to go take it a step further, you could do mobility days once a week, just one 10 to 20 minute session. You're good there. If you want to take it even further, that's when you can get into the ice baths and all that other therapy stuff like that. But that's definitely not necessary. So I do the preliminary stuff that I can do at home for my recovery.
Gotcha.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think like we're coming up pretty much on time.
Yeah.
Time, but
100%.
It was a pleasure, Tariq.
For sure.
Pleasure being with you too.
Yeah,
I think I hope our like viewers got like a lot out of this episode. There were a lot of gems in here too.
I hope so.
Yeah, thank you for not holding back too. Like,
no, never.
Yeah.
If you want to check out Tariq, you know, like we mentioned,
give a plug.
At the beginning.
Oh yeah, plug. Here we go. At Striqfit. That's STRIQFIT. You can find that pretty much everywhere: YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Just Google it. You'll find it. Trust. Strict form only.
Yeah, and hopefully part 2 coming soon.
Yeah, hopefully we have you on again.
For sure.
But thank you for joining us, and viewers, thank you so much for watching the second episode of Victor Club, and you know, keep coming back, and we're gonna bring up more guests like Tariq, and maybe Tariq himself will come back if he wants to.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, down for it. All right.
Yeah, thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Appreciate it.
Peace.
You guys.
Peace, guys.